What is up, y'all? Dan back at you with another video, and in today's video it's going to be a little bit of a different one, but I wanted to go ahead and put this together. This video is going to talk about stasis and stasis builds for each character currently that is in the game. And what that means is that we're putting together a build for each character that will be pretty beneficial right now, but also in the future. But we do know about next season that we are getting a stasis refresh and a stasis update to the artifact, and a lot of a focus of next season will be on stasis. I wanted to take this time to put together a couple of builds that I currently think are really good with all of the new changes that we have currently in the game since the last time stasis was really strong, and put together a build that I think will be really good, hopefully when the new season comes out as well. This is going to assume that you have a lot of the in-game weapons and exotics, including Conditional Finality, Winter Bite, Wicked Implement, and the new repurposed craftable Dead Messenger. So first off, let's create a build around Stasis Warlock. Stasis Warlock is probably the most simple one because we're going to be taking advantage of Bleak Watcher as always. Nothing really comes close with the ability of just sending out a turret that freezes everything, that will constantly chain the freezing and shattering from target to target, and create a field of just constant crowd control and ad clear. To pair with that, we're going to be taking advantage of some fragments and aspects. Of course, to start off, our aspects are going to be using Ice Flare Boats combined with Bleak Watcher, which will make it to where anytime we toss out our grenade overcharging, it will send out a turret. Then whenever we kill frozen and shattered targets, it will then track out and seek and freeze new targets. This allows for a chaining effect of just constantly freezing, constantly shattering, and pretty much not letting anything move on the battlefield. For our choices across the board, from pretty much every single class, we're taking advantage of Whisper Bonds, where defeating frozen targets generates an orb of power. Whisper of Chains, where when you are near frozen targets or friendly stasis crystals, you take reduced damage. This is nice because you're going to always be near frozen targets, so it just lets you be more tanky when you're on the battlefield. Whisper of Durance, which slows that you apply to targets last longer. For those abilities that linger, your duration will also increase. This will make it to where whenever you slow and freeze targets, they'll just stay frozen and slowed for a longer duration, which is nice because you'll just constantly have everything frozen much longer, which will allow you to be more tanky, which will allow you to just stay on the battlefield and end the fight longer. And Whisper of Shards, where shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Since you're going to constantly be freezing and shattering crystals as well, you'll always be in a state of constant Whisper of Shards, which will allow you to pump out way more turrets at once. Adding on to this, we take advantage of Dead Messenger. New Dead Messenger with the craftable perk Demolitionist will allow you to, every time you kill an enemy, get about 20% of your grenade back on top of what you already get from your fragments. First thing, I like to pair this currently with Ios Luna with Outlaw and Headstone. This is just going to be another way of allowing you to make crystals every time you get a headshot kill on a target, which of course goes right into Whisper of Shards Stasis Crystal, temporarily boosting your grenade recharge rate. Personally, I think this build is fantastic. I've used it in Day 1 raids, I've used it in Grandmasters as well, and I think this build is going to be even better next season if it's not already really good this season. So if you haven't had a chance to try out this Stasis Warlock build, give it a shot. Moving on to Hunter, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite builds that I've made in the last couple years, and that is the Stasis Hunter running Renewal Grasp. This build is a personal favorite of mine that's been tuned, retooled, and updated to be relevant currently, especially with the updates to the exotic after they got absolutely shafted a few years ago. This is actually the build I used going into Day 1 Vow of the Disciple. It was very, very beneficial to helping us getting the clear as well. A lot of changes now. I think this build is even better than it used to be. For our fragments, we're taking advantage of Grim Harvest, where defeating slowed frozen combatants creates a stasis shard, and Touch of Winter, where our Dustfield nades have increased slow field sizes and creates a small stasis crystal on impact. Tying this together with our Renewal Grasp allows for our Dustfield nade to be massive and our stasis crystal to be massive as well. For our fragments, we're taking advantage of Whisper of Fissures, where it increases the damage and size of your burst of the stasis crystal when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. Whisper of Endurance to increase the slow time. Whisper Bond for defeating frozen targets, creating an orb of power. Whisper of Rhyme, where collecting a stasis shard grants you a small amount of your overshield. And Whisper of Shards, where shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Doing all this allows you to have a build where you're constantly slowing, freezing, shattering targets while constantly being near them and having a lot of damage resistance at the same time. By this build, we always want to make sure we have 100 resilience. You can also go for a lot of recovery and a lot of mobility or a lot of discipline. Personally, I like to go for triple hundreds on resilience, recovery, and discipline. This way I'm constantly always healing and I'm always available to have a Dustfield nade as possible as well. I have truly missed Renewal Grasp and I'm glad that it's now useful again. So pull your Renewal Grasp out of the vault, take them out of the trash, they are back, enjoy. Finally, I wanted to bring up a Stasis Titan build that I've been actually really enjoying. One of my community members brought this one up to me, and it's funny because it was a build I had been trying to make way back when Stasis first came out in Beyond Light, and it just didn't work. But with a lot of updates over the years, a lot of changes to Stasis, I do believe that this is finally a pretty viable build, and depending on what the artifact is next season, what they do to the Stasis stuff next season, this could be actually even better. Let me introduce you to Icefall Mantles. It's probably something you haven't thought about in a long time, but with the changes to it this season, I do think Icefall Mantle is one of the better choices for Stasis. If you want to go for a super duper tanky Titan that is just constantly allowing you to have Diamond Lances that will just, freeze and shatter everything that you toss them at for a pretty unique build. We did a lot of testing on stream recently, and I did think that this was pretty solid. We did a lot of changes to different stuff, so this is what I think is the best choices for this build. Icefall Mantle allows you to replace your barricade with an overshield and also give yourself a 25% stasis weapon bonus damage. Tying this together with Whisper of Rhyme Stasis Fragment, where collecting a stasis shard grants you a small amount of your overshield. All this does is basically refresh that timer over and over and over. Pairing this with Diamond Lance allows us to constantly shatter targets, and then when we defeat those targets with stasis abilities or weapons, we create a new stasis lance. Also putting together Tectonic Harvest with this allows us for shattering a stasis crystal, creates a stasis shard. Putting all these things together allows us to constantly have an overshield, constantly have a massive stasis weapon boost. Then all you're going to do is constantly pick up your stasis shards and get an overshield to constantly refresh your stasis weapon damage timer. For our fragments, like always, we're going to be taking advantage of Whisper of Fissures for increased damage and size of the burst of the stasis. Whisper of Rhymes for the overshield when we pick up shards. Whisper of Shards for the increased grenade recharge rate after shattering crystals. Whisper of Bombs for increased damage and frozen targets making orbs of power. And Whisper of Conduction just to allow the stasis shards to track to our position so we can get our overshields even quicker. For the grenade, we take advantage of Glacier Grenade, which allows us to have an instant way of shattering targets and also making shards from the stasis crystals instantly. Our exotic weapon of choice is Winter Bite, which allows us to fire a projectile that freezes targets in an AoE while also tracking the targets as well. I also like to pair this with the Ghost of the Deep Grenade Launcher Waveframe, New Pacific Epitaph, with Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie. Just another way of letting me have more crystals and more grenades as quickly as possible. Also, both of these things benefit from the extra 25% stasis weapon boost from Icefall Mantle. This allows you to have 2 ways of just absolutely dominating the field, shattering everything, freezing everything, and being an absolute menace on the field with all the stasis shards, all the stasis crystals, and all the stasis benefits. To be honest, I never thought I'd be able to figure out a way, or Bungie would ever make out to give us a way to just allow us to have a Icefall Mantle build be beneficial and usable in in-game content. But obviously now we have one that's actually pretty solid and I've actually really enjoyed using. As always, I have a dim link for a build for each of the classes in the description. If there are certain things about the build you want to change, feel free to let me know in the comment section. They will be there for you to try out. Hopefully this build is still really strong, if not better, next season when Stasis gets the focus of the seasonal aspects and the seasonal artifact. But as of right now, these are 3 really good builds that I think are beneficial to use on any class and on any situation. So hopefully you have enjoyed this video. I had a ton of fun making it with my community, and I do think this build will be pretty solid no matter where you take it and how you play with it. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you have any changes, let me know in the comment section. If you try it out and you didn't like it, let me know about that as well. Thank you so much for your support and watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.